Hello boys and girls, my name is Amanda and I'm going to tell you more of the story tonight about Joseph and Pharaoh. Now some of you might know me and some of you might not, and some of you might know me as Mrs. Gennaro from school, but tonight we're going to relax because you've been working hard and doing all your home learning this week. It's time to relax and enjoy hearing about God. So last week, Sandra was telling you the story of Joseph in the prison with the cupbearer and the baker. And Joseph had a very special power given to him from God. Can you remember what it was? Well, it was that he was able to tell them what their dreams meant. Now, sometimes I dream. Sometimes you might have dreams as well. They can be scary. Sometimes they're happy. Sometimes we even dream and we don't even remember when we wake up. But we finished off last week by hearing that Pharaoh had called Joseph to come to see him, to tell him all about his dreams. Because Pharaoh had been asking all the wise people in the land to explain to him what the dreams meant. So let's find out, with a little bit of help from Pharaoh himself, let's find out what happened next. So Pharaoh sent for Joseph at once to tell him about his dreams.
I had a dream, but no one can tell me what it means. Only you, Joseph.
Joseph answered, "Not I, Pharaoh, but God can tell you what your dreams mean."
In my dream, I had a dream. What was in my dream? In my dream, I was sitting beside the River Nile, and I think there were 7 cows. 7 fat cows and 7 thin cows. It was so weird and so scary. And the 7 thin cows ate the fat 7 cows. How can you explain that? In my second dream, I saw 7 ears of grain growing all from one single stalk. And I saw other 7 ears, thin and dry. And the thin ears swallowed up the full ears. But no one can tell me what it means.
And Joseph said to Pharaoh, "Pharaoh, your 2 dreams both mean the same thing. God is telling you what he is going to do. The 7 healthy cows are the 7 healthy years, and the 7 ears of grain are the 7 years. They're the same dream. The 7 sick and ugly cows and the 7 thin grains are the 7 years of famine. And famine, boys and girls, means when there isn't enough food." This is the meaning of what I said earlier. God is letting Pharaoh in on what he's going to do. 7 years of plenty through the land of Egypt. But next, there will become 7 years of famine, leaving people very, very hungry. There won't even be enough food left. The fact that Pharaoh dreamed the same dream twice tells Pharaoh that God is going to do this very soon. So Joseph told Pharaoh, "You need to look for a wise and experienced man and put him in charge of the country. Then you need to find managers throughout the country to help organise the food so that you'll have enough food to last you for a long time and you won't have a famine. The grain will be under Pharaoh's authority, that means he's in charge, and it will be held back to use in the years of the famine. This way, the people of Egypt won't be left hungry." This seemed like a pretty good idea to Pharaoh and his officials. And Pharaoh said,
Joseph! He is the one that can do this. He has the Spirit of God.
So Pharaoh said to Joseph, "You're the man for us. God has given you the inside story. No one is as good as you. You are the best man for the job." So Pharaoh commissioned Joseph to be in charge of the entire country of Egypt. Then Pharaoh removed his ring from his finger and put it on Joseph's hand. He fitted him in robes of the best linen and put a gold chain round his neck. He put the second in command chariot at his disposal, and as he rode, people shouted, "Bravo! Bravo!" Joseph was in charge of the whole country of Egypt. Pharaoh told Joseph,
I am Pharaoh, and no one can make a move without your stamp of approval in Egypt.
Then Joseph gave Pharaoh an Egyptian name. It's quite a tricky name, boys and girls. In fact, I'm not even sure if I can say it right, but I will have a go. Zaphanath-Paneah, which means God speaks and he lives. He also gave him an Egyptian wife, Asenath, the daughter of Potiphar. And Joseph took up his duties over the land of Egypt. Joseph was 30 years old when he went to work for Pharaoh, the king of Egypt. As soon as Joseph left Pharaoh's presence, he began his work in Egypt. During the next 7 years of plenty, the land produced lots of crops. Joseph gathered up the crops and stored them away, because remember, he had to make sure there was enough food for the time of famine, so that there would be plenty of food for the people to eat. Joseph collected so much grain it was like the sand of the ocean, and he finally had to stop counting because there was just so many. Joseph had 2 sons born to him before the years of famine came. Then Egypt's good years came to an end, and the 7 years of famine arrived just as Joseph had said. All countries experienced famine, but Egypt was the only country that had bread. When the famine spread throughout Egypt, the people called out in distress to Pharaoh, calling for bread. He told the Egyptians,
Go to Joseph. Do what he tells you.
Got worse all over the country. Joseph opened the storehouses and emergency supplies and shared them with the Egyptians. The famine was very bad. Soon the whole world was coming to buy supplies from Joseph. The famine was bad all over. When Jacob learned there was food in Egypt, he said to his sons, Why do you sit around here and look at one another? I've heard there's food in Egypt. Go down there and buy some so that we can survive and not starve. And if you remember, Jacob was Joseph's dad, and the brothers were the people who weren't very kind to Joseph. So it will be interesting to find out next week what is going to happen when they get to Egypt and see that their brother is in charge. Boys and girls, before I go, I want to remind you of one very important part of the story. When Pharaoh asked Joseph to tell him about his dreams, Joseph said, I can't tell you, but God can tell you. And God used Joseph to tell Pharaoh what his dreams meant. God gave Joseph the special talent to be able to do that. And we all have special talents. I know that you all have special talents. Maybe you are good at dancing or arts and crafts or singing, baking, running, lots of different things. But we need to be like Joseph, and we need to be humble and remember that whatever talents we have been given those talents by God, and we can thank God for all those things that He has given to us. So come back next week to find out what happens next. Have a good week, take care, and stay safe.
Nothing's too big, big, big for His power, and nothing's too little, little for His care. Nothing's too big, big, big for His power, and nothing's too really, really for His care. Nothing's too big, big, big for His power, and nothing's too insy wincy for His care. Nothing's too big, big, big for His power, and nothing's too teeny weeny for His
Good evening, boys and girls. I hope that you're enjoying our Friday night videos about Joseph. The story of Joseph reminds us about how God wants us to live even when things don't go the way that we want. A few weeks ago, Emma taught us a memory verse which reminds us about how we should live. I think we will ask the leaders if they remember the memory verse. Leaders, it's over to you.
The Lord has shown you what is good. He has told you what he requires of you.
You must act with justice.
You must love to show mercy.
And you must be humble as you live in the sight of your God.
Micah chapter 6, verse 8.
Leaders, that was a fantastic job. You remembered the memory verse really well. Well, boys and girls, do you think you could say the memory verse too?
The Lord has shown you what is good.
He has told you what
He requires of you.
you must act with justice.
You must love to show mercy.
And you must be humble.
As you live in the sight of your God. Micah chapter 6, verse 8.
Wow, boys and girls, that was fantastic. Not only did you remember the memory verse, you also remember the actions. Okay, leaders, let's see if you can do the actions as well.
The Lord has shown you what is good. He has told you what he requires of you.
You must act with justice.
You must love to have mercy.
And you must be humble as you live in the sight of your God.
Micah chapter 6, verse 8.
Brilliant, leaders. You remembered the actions too. I hope we can all use this verse this week to remind us that God wants us to do the right thing, to be kind to others and to stay close to Him. Hope you all have a good week. And before we finish, can I just remind you all that we would love to see the pictures of what you've been up to. We would also love to see your videos of you doing the actions to some of the songs, or even saying the memory verse on your own. You could get an adult to send them in to our church email, office@glengormley.org, or WhatsApp them to a leader. Looking forward to hearing from you soon. Bye.